Hello everyone, this is Colin Goebel. I'd like to demonstrate today a platform game that involves battling Mario and Luigi and the techniques involved in developing such a platformer. So first of all, I'm going to open up the finished game. I called it Platform Demo. We'll double click on the GM6 file here, which will launch GameMaker. And just so that you can see how the game is intended to work, I'm going to begin by just playing a few frames of the game. We'll click the Start button, and you'll see that we have Mario here going back and forth. He jumps under the effects of gravity. And we'll hop him up here. Whoops, can't quite manage that. Let's wait. Hop. Oops, nope. Hop him. Well, we're not having much luck there. Let's go here. There we go. And let's hop him up here. Nope. Well, this game's pretty hard, even though I wrote it myself. There we go. And up here, you'll notice that we have Luigi. And Luigi is throwing Koopas back and forth, and you'll notice the Koopas back and collapse onto the platforms below. Mario, by the way, when we hit the space bar, throws rocks back and forth, and we could imagine we could develop this into a full-fledged game in which Mario somehow has to destroy Luigi. Okay, so that's the game we're trying to build. You'll notice the whole thing scrolls to track Mario. The game world is wider than the screen. So that's the essence of what we're trying to do here. It's not a finished game. There's no scoring. There's no collisions that are implemented when rocks and Koopas hit things. What I'm interested in here is the constructs of how to get Mario to jump and how to get these objects to land on the platforms and move, as you can see they're doing. Okay, let's start and see how the game is put together. Under our objects, we have many objects, of course, that I've developed. The first object naturally is, well, actually, let's start with the wall object. The wall object is the basis of the framework, the platforms. They're made up of wall sprites. Because they're solid, we've made them solid. We've made them visible. The wall is connected to a wall sprite, and let's take a quick look at the wall sprite. Let's notice that the wall sprite, I'm using a bounding box, which is the full image. I want a collision to occur whenever anything overlaps the full image of that sprite. We're not interested in precise collision checking. Again, I want the collision to occur when anything intersects the bounding box of the wall sprite. And you'll notice the wall itself is 24 pixels wide by 24 pixels high. Now that's significant because the game world, if we look at the game world here, I've set let's just open up the room, which I called level 1. In the game world, you'll notice I've set the grid to 24 by 24. Okay, so in the game world, as you can see, I've laid out here the platforms that you saw in the game. We have the wall that's representing the platforms. And so what we have to do now is see how that game was put together. Okay, well, that's the wall. So the big issue, of course, is Mario, and how is Mario put together? Well, Mario has a lot of events associated with him, but the most important thing is that he goes, when we work with Mario, as you saw when I play the game, if I press the right arrow, Mario goes right and turns into an animated icon. And when I press the left arrow, Mario goes left and turns into an animated icon, going in the left direction. So first of all, let's start by seeing how that's done. Okay, in the left direction, we have a standing icon. If I edit the sprite, you'll see the sprite is right here. This is the image of Mario. And you might ask the question, where did I get that sprite from? And I'd like to answer that. If you go to the left navigator of your CS133G web page, you'll notice there's a link on the left-hand side to the Spriters resource. If you click that link, you'll get to the Spriters resource, and you'll see that there are various sprite sheets for various popular games. The one I chose, of course, was Nintendo. And I was interested in the Mario series, so I clicked on that icon there. And there were several possible games of Mario that I could have been interested in. I actually chose a Mario platformer, as you might imagine. There were several possibilities here. The one I'm working with is this one here, Super Mario Brothers 3. So what I wound up with was this sprite sheet here, the one that contained Mario. Actually, later on, I'm going to use some of the enemies. And I wind up with this thing here, which is known as a sprite sheet. It's all of the images that make up Mario and Luigi and other cartoons in the game. So let's right-click on that, and what I would do is save that picture as, and put it someplace on my hard disk so that I could get at it later. Actually, I've already done that, and you'll see right here, I've got the Mario Brothers GIF. It's this thing here. There's exactly the same image that I downloaded from the internet. Okay, so going back to GameMaker for a moment, if I want to create a sprite, let me close this. If I want to create a sprite for Mario going right, the way I did this, I didn't load the sprite, I edited the sprite. I went to File, Create from Strip. The strip that I used was something here. Let's see, it'll be Program Files, column CS133G. And down in here somewhere under Mario versus Luigi, there's the sprite sheet that I use, Mario Brothers.gif. Okay, now the trick here is that I wanted to create an image of Mario looking to the right-hand side. Let's assume that Mario facing right was, shall we say, this image right here. So I'm going to use one image. I want one image per row. And if I want that image there, say, that red line shows me the image that's going to get selected. Obviously, it's a little too big. I want to make its width probably only around 24. May still even be a little too big. I'm going to pick up the edges. Maybe if I make it 16, it'll be better. So we'll make the width 16 and have a look at it. And it looks like that might be just about right. And the height is currently set at 32, and so we could leave it at 32. Okay. If I were to click on OK now, that would create, and that would give me the image that I wanted from that sprite sheet. In my case, I've already loaded the image, as you can see, so I won't do that. But I will comment that once we've got Mario left, the way you create Mario right is if you right-click on Mario left, you can duplicate Mario left. So now you get a copy of Mario left. And if you go and edit that sprite, under Transform, you can mirror horizontal. And now, whoops, if we transform and mirror horizontal, we've got Mario looking in the other direction. So a very good way for getting a sprite to look both left and right is to choose an image going right and then just use the sprite editor to transform it and mirror it horizontal. Okay, so we don't need to save those changes. I don't really need sprite 11, so I'll just close that out and delete that sprite. Oops, what did I do there? And delete that sprite. Probably deleted the wrong thing. Okay, so if I've done this right, we have an image of Mario. Let's edit this sprite. We have here an image of Mario looking to the right, which is not an animated sprite. We have an image, I hope, of Mario looking to the left, which is also not an animated sprite. And then I did take some images of Mario running to the right. So if I edit that sprite, there's Mario running to the right. And again, by transforming it and mirroring it horizontal, I was able to get Mario running to the left. And if we edit that, we can see Mario's running to the left there. Okay. So I have 4 sprites for Mario: standing right, standing left, running right, and running left. Obviously, when the game starts up, Mario is associated with Mario standing right. That's the initial sprite that's associated with Mario. Now, if I press the right key, The way this works, the essential thing here is that, first of all, I want, for various reasons, to record what direction Mario is going. And remember that the direction that's to the right is the direction 0 degrees. So I just have a variable that I've called Mario direction. Notice that there are no spaces in that. Variable names are not allowed to have spaces. They can only be letters and underbars, and digits, but letters and underbars. And I've given that variable a value of 0. That's so that that variable is going later on when Mario throws a rock to specify whether the rock should be thrown to the right or to the left. When I hit the spacebar, we're going to need to know later which way to throw the rock, and that's what Mario direction does. Then we're going to move relative. Very important to check the relative button. We're going to move 5 pixels in the positive X direction, applying to self, which will move Mario 5 pixels to the right. This is if the right key is depressed. And the third thing we do is if we're moving to the right, we want to use the Mario running right sprite. And every time the key's depressed, we don't want to start the animation at subimage 0. So it's critically important we change the subimage value to -1, which means in each frame of the game, the animation will continue from the previous subimage of the animation. Okay, obviously if we press left, we do exactly the same thing, except in this case we set Mario direction to 180. There are 360 degrees in a circle, and 180 is moving horizontally to the left. We're going to jump -5 in the X direction, which will move us closer to the left margin by 5 pixels. Remember to check relative, because we want to jump -5 relative to where Mario is currently positioned. And of course, we've got to change the sprite into Mario running left. Remember to set the subimage to -1 so that the animation plays continuously. Okay, if we release the right key, we have to change Mario standing right because he's no longer running right. In this case, we can leave the subimage at 0 because it's not an animation. And if we release the left key, we're going to change the sprite into Mario standing left. Again, subimage 0. Okay, as long as we remember to do one more thing, which is the create event here. Remember, when the game starts, Mario is looking to the right. So I'll set this variable Mario direction to 0 right here. As long as we do that, we should have enough code now so that when I press the left arrow and the right arrow, we animate Mario to the right, we animate Mario to the left, and he moves back and forth. Okay, some other things to notice. Whenever you have an object, as we do here with Mario, and there are several sprites associated with him, Mario running right and left, and Mario standing right and left, it's really important that we take a very close look at our bounding boxes, because we must have collisions occurring at exactly the same time under the same circumstances. No wonder which image is presenting itself to us. So I've set the bounding box here. I've set it to automatic. The top is at 4, the bottom is at 43. The other way, the top is at 4, the bottom is at 43. Here it's at 4 and 43. I had to set it to manual on this one to get it to 4 and 43. And I had to set it to manual on this one to get it to 4 and 43. But I'll just repeat, it's really important that you have exactly the same bounding box on all of the sprites associated with the same object. Otherwise, you'll find the objects get stuck inside the walls. Also, on all of those sprites, remember to turn off precise collision checking. Very important. So take a look at those settings very carefully. Otherwise, you'll find your objects get stuck. Okay, at this point, I'm going to leave this first part of the tutorial, and we'll continue shortly. Thank you.